Good morning, St. Peter's. It is a wonderfully bright and sunny day. Where am I, you ask? I am sitting in the courtyard at St. Peter's School because today I'm screening some kindergartners so they're ready to come to school when we get to come back. Won't that be fun? So I decided to do it in the courtyard. I brought my friends along with me. We are already up to Summer Reading Explorers Adventure number 9. Can you believe it? This is our 5th week of Summer Reading Adventures, and I'm so happy that you have joined us on this fun explorer's journey. Here we have our friends. Ralph is here, Magic Monkey, Daisy, and of course our Pig of Joy with her Jar of Joy. Are you ready to have some really fun outdoor summer adventures today? So am I. Let's see what is in my pack today. Oh, I love this book. You have probably never heard it, but it's been around for a really long time, even since I was a kid. Whoa, I know. Before we read our book, what do we have to do? Gather everyone around. I have my people. Do you have your people? All right, let's get ready for our story. Let's turn up our ears so we're ready to listen. Let's turn off our mouths so we don't make a sound. Put your hands quietly in your lap. Take a nice big deep breath. And now we're ready for our story. All right, it is called The Ant and the Elephant. Can you see that little tiny ant up there on his trunk? Because an elephant's nose is called a trunk. It is written and illustrated by Bill Peet. I think you're really gonna like this story. Here we go. One morning, a tiny ant crawled up a tall blade of jungle grass. There he is, he's so tiny. He was for a view of the river. All at once he was caught by a breeze that sent him sailing off into the swirling water. Just when it seemed he would be swept downstream and gone forever, the ant grabbed onto a snag and scrambled to safety. Whew, that was close. There the ant remained, stranded, wondering what he would do. So he sat up here on this little twig that got stuck in the water. But down here is the water. He's surrounded. He can't get across. When he spied a mud turtle creeping along the riverbank. "Oh, Mr. Hardshow," called the ant in his wee small voice, "would you be so kind as to give me a lift back to dry land? It's a nice day for a swim." The old turtle turned his head slowly. After a long look at the ant, he said, "I've had my swim for today, and besides, if I went racing about helping everyone who was in trouble, I'd have no time left to relax." Then the turtle tottered on his way to find a place where he could sun himself. When the turtle came to a flat, warm rock, he crept slowly up to the edge. Suddenly, he went toppling backward and landed upside down. "Oh, blast it all," he muttered. "Dad, blame it." And he began thrashing out with his legs, desperately trying to right himself. But all the kicking could do was send him rocking about on his shell. That was all. He couldn't get up. He was stuck on his back. As he stretched his stringy neck looking about for help, the turtle spied a hornbill roosting on her nest, high on a tree limb. "Oh, Mrs. Big Bill," he called, "would you mind helping me back to my feet? With one flip of your beak, I'm sure you could do it." "I could," snapped the bird, "but I won't. This will teach you not to be so clumsy." They are not being very kind and helpful in this story, are they? The ant wanted help. The turtle said no. The turtle needs help, and now the bird is saying no. Not such a good story so far. As she leaned down to say more, The hornbill tipped the nest, and her one big egg rolled out to go tumbling all the way to the ground. Luckily, it landed in a clump of fluff-twuff weeds without so much as a crack. "Thank goodness," she cried when she found the egg all in one piece. Then, seizing it in her beak, she fluttered her wings as she tried to take off. But her oversized beak plus the cumbersome egg were too much of a load. Still, she kept on furiously thrashing the air until her wings were worn to a frazzle. It was too heavy and she couldn't fly. So now guess who's going to need help? As the miserable bird sat there staring helplessly at the egg, a giraffe came striding along. "Oh, Mr. Greatneck," she called, "you've come just at the right time. If I perched on your head with the egg in my beak, you could carry us back to my nest." "Indeed, no," scoffed the proud giraffe. "If I did such a thing, how silly I would look. I have no one laughing at me. No, indeed." And Mr. Greatneck went on his way with his head held high, nibbling at the treetops. He was so intent upon the tasty leaves, he didn't notice the tangle-dangle vine until it was twisted up around one leg. Uh-oh. "Here now," snorted the giraffe with an angry kick. "How dare you?" The kick merely gave the vine an extra twist, which tightened its grip. Then in a fury, the giraffe began kicking wildly about with all four legs. The more he kicked, the more entangled he became. Finally, his legs were so tightly tied up in the vine, he couldn't budge. Oh no! Everyone's stuck in a bind. As he stood there in a tangle, he spied a lion heading his way. "What good luck," thought the giraffe. "With those great claws of his, he could rip this vine to shreds in one swipe." "Oh, Mr. Big Paw," he called to the lion, "just look at me." The lion took one look, then burst into a great roaring laugh. "Ha! That is so funny! I see what you mean!" And he laughed merrily as he went on his way through the jungle. He didn't even stop to see if he needed help. These people are very worried about themselves. The lion was still laughing to himself as he flopped down in a patch of shade for a bit of a cat nap. He flapped down with such a whoomp. It upset a huge boulder, which was all set to topple. To the lion's surprise, it rolled over and came right down upon his tail. Oh no. With a furious roar, he leaped to his feet, tugging frantically to free himself. But he soon found it was useless to struggle. He could never get loose unless he was willing to part with his tail, which of course we know he can't. What are they all going to do? As he sat there growling over his bad luck, a rhino came along. "Oh, Mr. Hornyhead," he called, "would you mind bumping this stupid boulder off my tail? Or one nudge of your great snout would do it." "I would," said the rhino, "if you could think of some way to return the favor." "Right now?" sighed the lion. "All I can think of is my poor tail." "Too bad," said the rhino, and he went lumbering off through the trees. Now, you don't always get repaid if you do a kind deed. That's not being very kind at all, is it? These animals need to learn a lesson. Do you think they will? Let's find out. The rhino never bothered to watch where he was going. With a great horn out front, he went plowing straight ahead through the brambles and brush, when all of a sudden, zoomp! He blundered head on into a stump with his great horn stuck deep into it. Oh boy. Got stuck in the tree stump. Out of my way, you stump, he snorted. And with a furious lunge, he tried to knock over the stump. This drove the horn still deeper. Then with a mighty tug, he tried pulling himself free, but the stump refused to let go. At last, the rhino realized he was hopelessly stuck. So the rhino, the lion, the giraffe, the hornbill, the turtle, and the ant were left in deep trouble. That would have been that if a jolly big somebody hadn't decided to take a stroll through the jungle that day. Somebody's going to come and help them all. It was a huge elephant with such great spreading ears he could hear the slightest sound. The faint rustle of a leaf, the least snap of a twig, or even the tiny voice of an ant calling. He reached his long trunk over the river, inviting the ant to climb aboard, then carried him back safely to dry land. "How could I ever thank you enough?" cried the grateful ant. "It was no big thing," said the elephant. "But it was a big thing for me," said the ant. "It was everything," as he scurried away through the grass. Finally, someone's coming and showing a little kindness. I knew someone would help us. If you've got time to bother with a nothing of an ant, grumbled the old turtle, how about me? You are in a pickle, said the elephant, and with the tip of his trunk, he flipped the turtle back onto his feet. Then, without a word of thanks, the old codger went tottering away, down the bank, to disappear in the river. That wasn't very nice. You should always say thank you if someone helps you. If you can help the ugly old turtle, squawked the hornbill, then at least you can do is to put my lovely egg back in the nest. The very least I can do, agreed the elephant, and holding the egg gently in his trunk, he carried it up to the nest. It's a wonder you didn't crack it, snapped the bird as she settled down onto the egg. Does she seem very grateful? No, he just helped save her egg. Oh my goodness. Say now, chuckled the elephant when he came upon a giraffe. That's what I call a funny fix. Not funny to me, snorted the giraffe. Not one bit funny. Then I'll try not to laugh, said the big fellow, searching through the vine with his trunk to get at the worst of the tangle. It does look kind of silly with his legs all tangled up like that. It took a few minutes to undo the dozens of knots that gripped the long legs. Once they were loose, the vine fell limply to the ground. Well, I must say it's about time, snorted the snooty giraffe as he went gallopy-clopping away. They're just being so rude, boys and girls. I'm starting to feel a little bad for the elephant, but he's still being so kind and helpful. What have we here? Asked the elephant when he came to the lion. We have a big bumbling boulder, growled the lion. That's what. Then be off, boulder. And the huge tusker heaved the boulder into the air with his trunk and sent it tumbling. Once he was free, the lion gave his tail a few switches to make sure it was working. Ah, what a relief, sighed the lion. Someday when I'm in a better mood, I must remember to thank you. No hurry, said the elephant. He continued on his way through the jungle, where he soon found the hopelessly stuck rhino. Well, at least the lion thought about thanking him. That's closer. I can pull you free, said the elephant, if your tail can stand one mighty tug. Right now, it's my snout I'm worried about, groaned the rhino. So jerk away. Gripping the rhino's tail tightly in his trunk, the elephant reared back, and with one almighty jerk, the rhino went sailing free of the stump to land with one big blump. That was one whale of a jerk, muttered the rhino. I hope you got some fun out of it. It was a pleasure, smiled the elephant as he went merrily on his way. That elephant just keeps on smiling. He was enormously pleased with himself after all the good deeds he had done that day. Everyone has his troubles, he chuckled. Everyone but Big Me. I'll never get into a fix where I need help. That's one thing for sure. The elephant didn't suspect there was a deep ravine just ahead. It was too well hidden by scatterflat ferns. Before he knew it, he had tumbled straight into it, landing with a 7-ton thud that shook the whole jungle. He was wedged so deep and in such a position that his trunk and his legs were useless. It serves me right, he muttered, for feeling so almighty big and all-powerful. Oh, now I'm the one who needs help. Help, he bellowed. Help! Help, help! Then he waited anxiously for a reply. He waited for hours, staring up at the sky until it faded into evening, and a deep stillness settled over the jungle. Oh, I'm worried, boys and girls. Is there anyone who can help this elephant? It was too quiet. His great spreading ears caught this. It was so quiet, his great spreading ears caught the sound of footsteps. Tiny, tiny footsteps from somewhere above. Who's there? Asked the elephant. It's me, said a wee small voice. The ant you rescued this morning, and all my ant friends, 95,000 of them. Whoa, that's a lot of ants. I know ants are amazingly strong, said the elephant, but surely you don't expect to lift me out of here. We can try, said the ant. Come on, my friends, let's get to work. Do you think all those ants could lift that elephant up out of there? I don't know, he's so big. Let's see. Suddenly, down the steep wall of the ravine came a teeming horde of ants, swarming under the elephant. Then all together they began chanting, heave ho, up you go, up you go. And to the elephant's amazement, he felt himself moving upward. Slowly but surely, just an inch at a time, the tireless ants hoisted their huge burden up the wall. Heave ho, up you go. Don't lose your grip. Don't anyone trip. And at last, under a bright full moon, they set the elephant down in the scatterflat ferns. That was tremendous, cried the elephant. I can't believe it. It was nothing, replied the 95,000 ants. Nothing for you, said the elephant, but a mighty big thing for me. Now, if you'll climb aboard, I'll give you a ride back to your anthill. Oh, this is turning out great. I'm not a bit tired, said one ant, but I would like a ride. I've never ridden on an elephant. Neither have I, cried all the others, and they swarmed up the elephant's legs onto his back. Then away they went, hirumpity-bumpity-clumpity-bump, the mighty big and the mighty small, off through the jungle together. What do you think about that? All of those animals who refused to help each other were all helped by the elephant, and then they still would not thank him except for the ant. We need to try to be like that ant. So small, and we are small. One of us doing one kind thing can be a big deal, but if a lot of us work together, we can tackle even the biggest problem like they did with this elephant. You know what that's called? Teamwork. And if you go to St. Peter's, you know my motto. Teamwork makes the dream work. And those tiny ants certainly made that elephant's dream work to get him out of that pit. Isn't that amazing? We can be kind. We can share that kindness with others. Don't be like those animals that just ignored everyone along their way, because it all comes back around. Someday you're going to need help too. So we're always going to try to help any way we can, right? Excellent. Would you like to see what we can do about our story today? So we have two things happening. I'll show. Oh, look what I have. What? A whole bunch of grass in my cup. That's exciting. Oh, I have some paper. Something else in here. I have a couple of crayons and some glue. Guess what we're going to do today? We are going to make a scene, an ant scene. But we are also going to do some observing outside. So, to observe outside, I would like you to go out and try to find some ants. Now, I tried to do that today, but right now, at this time of day, it's a little bit hot outside. So most of the ants are not coming out in the sun yet. Sometimes in the evening, or if it gets a little shady, try this experiment. Take a little piece of a potato chip or a bite of a cookie, or drop a little piece of your popsicle on the ground and let it sit there for a few minutes and come back and see how many ants come, and watch if you can see them carrying the food off. If you see it, write it down in your explorer's notebook so we can share what we learned and what we observed of the ants. I don't have any to show you right now because they didn't come out. So here's what we're going to do. Remember, I almost forgot my scissors in my pack. So this is a way to incorporate both. We're going to use some paper today, but we're also going to use our nature, like the grass we saw. So I put my grass in this round container. I don't have any black paper, but I have brown paper. I'm going to make my ant brown. We're going to make an ant today. Would you like to see? All right. I'm going to make my ant brown. You can make it any color you want. There are brown ants, there are red ants, there are black ants. So you're going to take something round. Look at the bottom of my grass container. It's round, right? Like a roll of tape is round, a cup is round from your cupboard. And you're just going to take your black crayon and trace around 3 times. You need 3 circles. Trace around your circle 1, 2, 3 times. Okay? Our 3 circles, that's going to be our ant body. So, guess what we're going to do next? We get to practice with our scissors. We haven't done scissors for a while, so this is a good day to try. Now, here's what I recommend. How about we cut out, come on, scissors, the paper's very big. We're going to cut around those circles so that it's easier to cut. So now when I cut this circle out, all I have to do, I only have to hold a little bit of my paper. Remember, turn your paper, not your scissors. It makes it easier to cut in a circle, okay? Got my circle cut out. We're gonna cut out 3 circles. So let me cut out this circle, a little piece. So now when I cut, it's going to be easier as I use my scissors. You're gonna cut along that line. Turn your paper, not your scissors, right? There's 2 circles. 1 more, here we go. And then instead of just drawing some grass on our paper, or instead of making grass out of torn paper, which you can do, this helps us not need so many pieces of paper. I only am going to use 2 pieces of paper. I'm going to use this grass to be my grass on my picture. If you just have a glue stick, that's okay. But if you have glue like this, I recommend using this because it'll stick a little better. So you are going to just make some nice strips. I'm making circles. See that? I'm just putting my glue all along the bottom. If you have a glue stick, make sure you do it all along. Cover it. Make sure it's nice and covered, pretty thick, right? so that your grass, I dropped my glue, that's okay, so that your grass will stick. Then I'm going to take my grass just like this, and I'm going to stick it to that glue. And look at how neat that looks when you make a picture. I already picked this grass ahead of time, but you can do it as you make your picture if you'd like. Ooh, look, I got some clovers in mine that were in my grass because I wanted it to have a little bit of flowers. You could put some leaves on there. See, so there's the bottom of our picture. Now, when you do this, let it dry flat, because see how some of it's falling off and some of it will fall off. That's okay. You can either re-glue it back on or just leave it how it goes. Okay, so I have a lot of grass stuck on my picture, just like that, okay? Then we are going to glue, let me pick up my glue real quick, our 3 circles onto the paper. Now this is where, if you want, you could turn it into your glue stick. We're just gonna put it right on there because our ant's gonna go marching. 1, let's do our next one. Now, this is the ant's body, so you want it to kind of overlap the other circle. See? I have 1 more to go. 1, 2, 3. Ants are small but mighty. Here's our 3rd one. Okay? Then, what does our ant need? He needs a happy smiling face, right? So we're going to put some eyes on our ant. 2 eyes. An ant needs some antenna coming out of his head, right? That's how an ant can sense what's going around. And let's put a nice big smile on our ant. Look at that. So yes, an ant has 6 legs. I'm not going to put my legs on right now because he's on the glue. But when the glue dries, then I can draw, or we can just draw him kind of on his body like that, right? And when the glue dries, we can make some more legs going down, or you can cut them out of paper. Isn't that amazing? If you want a sun in your sky, you can put a sun up here with its rays shining down. You get to decorate it however you want. I love the real grass on our paper. Isn't that cool? You make your ant at home, take a picture and put it in the comments so I can see what your ant looks like. I would love, love, love to see it. What do you say? I'm gonna check, see, I put a Dorito over there and there's still no ants on it. I think it's too hot right now. I'm gonna keep observing and write it down in my notebook. I'll make some comments. I'll take a picture of it if it gets covered with ants later, okay? Let's spread some joy. What do you say? Here we go. We're gonna have some loud bells. That's okay. We're at the very end. Let's see, because you know at St. Peter's, the bells always chime on the hour. All right, Joy, how are we gonna spread some joy today? One of my favorites, read to someone. I know you've been working so hard on your reading. Sit someone down this afternoon, find a nice shady spot outside, sit down, read to them, whether it's some older brother and sister or a younger brother and sister, your mom, your dad, someone who lives with you. Well, you know what? You can even read to your stuffed animals or to your dog or cat if you have a pet. Joy loves when I read to her. You could try that. Read to someone. Spread your joy, boys and girls, and always remember to be kind like that elephant. He was amazing, and I know that's how you are as well. I hope you have fun on this ant and elephant adventure, and I will see you on Thursday for another exciting summer reading explorer's adventure. Until then, boys and girls, keep spreading your joy.